7 p.m., the curtain rises for The Sinister Symphony, a brand new horror radio drama. It's one night only, and tickets are disappearing fast. Get yours now at Eventbrite. Haunted Radio, here on Fringe FM.
Strange thing, every night around this time, the station plays the same frequency drift.
Confirmed. Sequence repeats every 86,400 seconds. Cause unknown.
Feels like deja vu, or maybe time's just buffering.
You've said this.
Huh. Maybe I have.
End of loop approaching. Reset in 3, 2. Two.
You're listening to Fringe FM, and so am I.
It's as simple as something that nobody knows it. Her eyes are as big as her bubbly toes. On the feet of a queen of the hearts of the cards, and her feet are all covered with tar balls and scars.
Say in your mind, say to yourself, I am more than my physical body, because I am more than physical matter. I can perceive that which is greater than the physical world. I deeply desire to expand, to experience, to know, to understand, to control, to use such greater energies and energy systems as may be beneficial and constructive to me and to those who follow me. I deeply desire the help and cooperation, the assistance, the understanding of those individuals whose wisdom, development, and experience are equal to or greater than my own. I ask their guidance and protection from any influence or any source that might provide me with less than my stated desires.
Do not know all the answers to the questions about reality. Do not claim to know the ultimate truth about time. I seek that which has been made hidden. As a part of a family and explorers of consciousness.
Late.
I'm the void one.
Welcome to Lighting the Void.
Broadcasting live from a shack on a hill in the Mossy Creek bottoms of Cane Creek, Arkansas. This is Lighting the Void live on the Fringe FM. It's October 15th, 2025 on a hump day. And since we're done with the Monroe stuff, we got to continue this journey on our own until Halloween. Inside the production studio, I got Flying Bryce. I also got Gypsy Jenny. And any of you guys that are in the Discord, most of you, more than likely most of you, have the option to come into the production room and chat with us. And then we'll get the phone lines open and back up too. But, the world outside kind of feels different after I read that text. Still, but not silent. And I was thinking earlier, I was like, when the crickets stop somewhere. I'm thinking of all these like radio things I'm going to say for Halloween. And so I was thinking like somewhere behind the hum of the streetlights and the pulse of your heart, there's a signal that lies beneath or something like that. Like just to, get all dramatic, find like dramatic stuff for Halloween. But I thought about this question, like it keeps a lot of philosophers and dreamers and scientists just staring into the dark. I mean, after we read that book or those books, then we know, like there were doctors, scientists, dreamers, people like you and me. What's the real question that's on a lot of our minds is, are we living in a simulation or are we in some type of code dreaming reality together? I'll tell you some stories about my experience, and then maybe you guys can share some with me. But after reading Monroe, like Robert Monroe once wrote that what we call the physical world is just one band. And how did he put it? It's just one band on a far wider frequency spectrum, a classroom for consciousness. And now, if that's true, then maybe we're not avatars in a machine, like some people say, like our bodies are just avatars. Maybe we're lucid dreamers who just forgot that we're dreaming. Not, on a deeper level, much deeper level than the lucid dreaming that you and I discuss about. Maybe it's like a really big lucid dream. So let's try to trace some of this code and see if we can find any evidence in your life, in my life, and in yours, any evidence of glitches in the matrix that kind of show us that, yeah, we're in a dream sequence or we're in a reality. So if you remember, or we're in a dream reality. So if you remember Far Journeys, he said this. He said, reality is composed of many energy systems, all interacting, all valid. The physical world is only one reality system among many designed for growth, for experience. So another question is like, what if he wasn't just being poetic? What if he was describing kind of like the source code, If you look back into the simulation theory, the guy that originated it, I don't think he totally originated it, but he's pretty well known, is Nick Bostrom. And he says that scientists like himself say, but mainly him, I think it was just him that started it, say that we may be lines of information, and that's all we are. Quantum physicists tell us that the universe is built from probabilities until observed. So everything is a mass of this chaos of probabilities until something locks in, like you or me, or consciousness itself locks in and observes it, and then all of a sudden it becomes a reality, or it becomes something, So maybe these observations are also collective, and this is kind of where egregores come in. Maybe we're writing this code together. I know most of us, I don't want this responsibility either, but I know that most of us don't want this responsibility. But maybe that's what's going on. Moment by moment, second by second, we're all writing the code together, dream by dream. So basically what I'm saying is, what if there's nothing outside of us, nothing that's doing this to us? Not really. Because if you remember in the books, this is all theory, by the way, could be totally full of shit. But if you remember in the books, Monroe discovered later that all these things that were happening to himself, even the helpers that were coming in to help him from his first books, were really just him in a higher form of consciousness that was coming back to help himself grow, which is kind of paradoxical, if that's even a word. All right. What's up, Flying Bryce? What's up, Jenny? I hope you don't stay muted, Jenny. You got to get your voice out there. Talk more, Are you working?
No, I'm home.
You are? Cool.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think there's a possibility that we're in a dream, like we're all in this collective dream state that we're creating, or it's a simulation?
Simulation?
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that. It's funny, I was watching Matrix today with my nephew, and the simulation theory has been on my mind for quite a few days.
Cool. I think it could be a simulation. Although it seems like it does seem like the simulation thing takes away from all of the deep nostalgic emotional stuff for some reason. I don't know why. Just the idea of everything being some kind of program takes a little bit of the romance away from it for me. That's just my stuff though, That's only my stuff that does that. But so here's the thing, though. Here's what I want to talk to you guys about tonight. You, Bryce, everybody in chat, anybody who wants to participate is like, have you ever seen evidence of let's call them code glitches? I think, in my opinion, that things like deja vu, seeing apparitions, anything like that, or any type of something that some people still to this day don't want to talk about because they don't want others to think they're crazy when they talk about it. But anything like these types of things could be considered a code glitch in the program, like realities are blending together. Now, you, for a fact, I know you've had stuff like that happen to you, Bryce. You told me about that, right? Like you saw a shadow figure once before, one that you
and
almost fought, I think.
Yeah, well, I tried to fight it. It just wasn't there.
See, wouldn't that be considered a glitch? If this was a simulation, that would be some sort of like code glitch, wouldn't it?
Yeah. The other thing that just came to my mind is like if anybody's ever messed around with manifestation, how wild, like to an extent, if you think it can come true. So I mean, that's pretty wild in of itself.
You're talking about us being able to manifest things is a type of like code glitch in some sense of the word.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, more than likely. Yeah.
I think that for sure is something that kind of proves that that we're in a collective dream, some kind of deep collective dream. But deja vu, that's the big question. I love talking about deja vu because when deja vu happens, I get excited. I get a deep feeling of nostalgia sometimes, and I've had deja vu moments last for like longer than just a few seconds. I've had some that were really long where I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah, I've had that.
Yeah. So like, have you ever?
It just like piles on top. I was like, oh my God. Oh. And it just keeps going. It's like, yes.
Yeah. Almost like, you know what's about to happen. Like, what's coming next,
Mm-hmm.
I know it. What's up, Wolf? I know what's about to happen. I'll tell you this.
Or I start getting worried when I get deja vu. I don't know why.
Why?
Like, cause I keep thinking something bad's going to happen. I don't know why. It's just weird.
It's funny you say that because I was just fixing to say, like, there was a moment that I had in time when I was young, and a lot of these moments happened when I was inebriated. Okay, so for those that are like, oh, psychedelics is the way, the out of body experience isn't. I've had the deepest psychedelic experiences you can imagine. DMT, acid. I've done dirty stuff. I had a dirty past. PCP, mushrooms. I've done everything except that. What's that? The root stuff. I've done everything except that. I've also had an out of body experience. Now, what I'm saying is the weird thing that happened is a few times when I was younger, when I was quote inebriated, these moments would happen where it wasn't just like deja vu. It was kind of like what Robert Monroe was saying when he was playing poker, and he was like that he just knew, because I thought about that when we was reading that. I thought about that for a while, actually, where he just knew something that was going to happen. So I remember me and my friends were taking a buddy of mine. We had a friend of mine that was just stupid. He just wasn't all there, and he would say stuff that you just can't believe he said it, and sometimes it would be outright rude and obnoxious. And we were taking him back to a person's house where he insulted their child. I said, dude, these are friends of ours. You can't insult their children. That's ridiculous. We're going to go back there and you're going to apologize. Now, it wasn't, I know what you're going to think, especially Wolf. Wolf might go, well, that's just psychological. But I swear on everything, as soon as we got in the yard, me and all my buddies got out of the truck, we started walking towards the house. I stopped everybody, and I was like, wait, this is something bad's about to happen. And my buddy Aaron's like, nah, you're just tripping, Roop. You always trip. That's what you trip on everything. I said, no, dude, I'm telling you, I'm not tripping. I'm like, if we go up to that house something bad is going to happen. Let's just turn around and get the hell out of here. You know, we can go talk to him later, just not right now. Because it's like what Monroe talked about. I had like this knowing that something was going to happen. And sure enough, we get in the house and I said, hey, you know, Ken, he wants to apologize. And Ken said, I'm sorry. And before Ken even said the word sorry, this guy dropped his fist from Texas and punched Ken in the head so hard that I thought it would have knocked anybody out, but not Ken. He had kind of this mongoloid strength type stuff. You could hit him in the head all day. It wouldn't do nothing. And next thing I know, we're in a brawl in someone's house, like someone's house with their family. Me, 3 of my friends, and another friend of mine were fighting a family in their own home. This was terrible. This is a bad, bad situation to be in. But at the time I was young, and you know how you are when you're young and stupid and you got your boys and you got their back no matter what kind of thing. This was a bad situation. Anyways, we can skip the whole story arc, and I can just tell you that we almost got shot that night. We got guns pulled on us, and the cops called, and some people got really bad hurt. And what I'm saying is just for like a second, I don't think it was psychological at all, man. I think something came to me and was like, don't go into that house. You guys know what I'm talking about? Has that ever happened to you? Or like, man, something's going to happen. I can feel it. I don't want to do this. You know, I know it's happened to Bryce.
You know, I can you hear me, Joe?
Yeah, I can barely hear you. You sound kind of far away. I can hear you.
What about now? Is that better?
It's a little better.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't be kind of thinking that was psychological. I truly believe people can have a sort of premonition, a sense of what's about to happen, and kind of knowing 100%. You know?
Yeah, dude, it was a knowing. It was like I knew something was going to happen. I knew it, man. I was shaking. It's like I knew it so much that I was shaking. I was scared, and my friends. I was always the worrier in the group, you know, because I wanted to like take care of everybody. It wasn't just because I was just in fear all the time, but like I was shaking, man. I was like, I'm telling you guys, man, I got the eeriest feeling. You know, it's lucky that somebody didn't die that night. And I also think, the more I think about that, I think in a different timeline, like one of us probably did get shot. You know what I mean? Like how Monroe was talking about that moment where he was going in the airplane and he did this and click, and then he did it again, made a different decision, and then click, and then he went back and did it again. I felt like that was one of those moments where maybe in another lifetime or in another, I don't know, like quantum phase where we made different decisions, or maybe a fight didn't break out or something different happened, and then one of us got shot, you know? And so...
Yeah, there's probably loads of different options that can happen, and for one reason or another, one path is taken. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think those moments in our life are like those moments like where we're in this like shared dream experience, and then something happens for a moment, you're like, wait, I've been here before, like deja vu. And it's almost like consciousness, or your higher self, or maybe your I there, like Monroe is talking about, or whatever you want to call it, is like, I intuitively know what's the right thing to do here, you know, but
yeah,
you
like
see what I'm saying?
Mechanism.
Yeah, because my intuition was telling me, well, you've done this before. This is about to get bad, and it was in my body, man. Like I felt it in my body. It wasn't just my head. This is also kind of why I think that when there's so much stuff on the internet about emotions and stoicism and all this stuff, like emotions are bad and repressed emotions are what's bad. That's what causes bullshit, is repression. But anyways, like I feel like the emotions is the thing that ties us together on some other reality, on some other place that we exist, where maybe we're not quite all individual as we are here. Our emotions are what ties us together. It's the frequency that ties us all together. And so when you go into like a place that you've been before, or like your higher self maybe knows like, hey, this is a bad place to be. That's why it's almost like a frequency kicked up in me. I don't want to get too woo about it and start sounding like, I'm worshiping crystals or something. But what I'm saying is I think there's something to like the whole frequency thing Monroe's talking about, Have you ever done it like not listened to that voice and something really, really bad did happen? Bryce, anybody?
Well, I will tell you, I have not listened to that voice and something really good didn't happen.
Something really good didn't happen?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm not rich right now.
Oh, you're probably
Just,
talking about the whole
yeah.
Bitcoin thing, right?
Yeah. And something was telling me to put $100 in Bitcoin, and I didn't do it, and now I'm regretting it.
Yeah. Sure.
That kind of thing.
But did you get an we all should have invested in Bitcoin, but did you get an intuitive? I kind of did back then too. I was like, yeah, I have an intuitive feeling I really need to put some money into this thing,
I did, but like I let my logic just destroy it. Like, the thought that came to my head is it's not real money. Well, it's something that somebody made up. It's I at the time I was flat broke, and I had $200 in my bank account. It's like that's half my funds right now.
Yeah, but your first intuitive thought before all the doubts came
I really need to put money into this. I really need to, and I just didn't do it because I kept just doubting it. I kept coming up with quote unquote logical reasons why it wouldn't be a good idea. That kind of deal.
It seems to not matter what like our intuitive voice tells us, even during deja vu. It's almost like the ego comes in to protect us no matter what. No matter how good of a feeling we get about something, it's the ego comes in with its fear mechanism and like, no, you better not do that because there's always a reason why not to do something for sure. But I would say that would be one of those on maybe a smaller level, but like how much did you feel it in your body is what I'm saying, like emotionally.
Emotionally, I felt like I absolutely should have. Like 100%, I should have been all over it. Yeah, at the time, when Bitcoin was still a small thing, just when it was $3-4 a coin, that kind of deal.
Yeah, so maybe these moments, like what you're talking about, like what I was talking about, or maybe these moments we call deja vu, or these really deep intuitive hits. It's like when we sync with another version of ourselves or a version of ourselves that syncs with everything else, like the dream kind of brief. So we've lived all these existences, or maybe that's the dream thing, or it's a simulation where there's multiple outcomes based on the logic of the programming and all that stuff. But either way, at some point the glitch comes in and it's like an overlap, and then you feel it in your body like, oh, I think that's what the Matrix movie was talking about when they showed the cat. When the cat went by the thing and he was like, did y'all see that? And they're like, what? The cat just went by again. It didn't actually call it deja vu, but I think that's what they were hinting at is deja vu, which is a glitch.
Yeah, no, he says
Matrix,
it. He's like, I just said deja vu.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves or Neo. Neo says, oh, deja vu.
Deja vu is the glitch in the Matrix. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing about the Matrix is this is the main difference that I want to talk about. There's simulation theory where we're in a simulated reality created by something else that was either here to imprison us or here to whatever. Okay. The dream wave theory, like the dream synchronization theory, is that we're all in this together as a consciousness and we created
collective.
Yeah. We created all of this. And now we're responsible not only for getting out of the creation, but creating what's inside the creation, which means we're responsible for all of it. I think no one likes that theory because you can't be the victim in that theory. I mean, you can, like, but then you're the victim to yourself, you know. It's easier to be the victim.
But I have, everything bad that happened to me, I keep thinking, did I do that to myself, even though maybe I didn't have control over it. And that's what gets me about it, if that's where you're going.
Yeah, I mean, look, what if we created it's just like, I mean, if everything is fractal, and I know what people are thinking, what about the bad stuff? What about dying babies? What about cancer? What about rape, murder? Okay, I understand all that stuff. Okay? But if the thing that you say, look, we're going to create this thing, we're going to go into it, we're going to lose our awareness. It's the same thing when you fall into a dream. When you fall into a dream, not a lucid dream, but let's just say a dream, and you fall into a dream and there's bad stuff. Let's say it's a nightmare. Who's responsible for that nightmare? Is it Mr. Smith doing it to you? Like, it's terrifying. Bad stuff's happening. You're unconscious. The thing that you don't remember, the thing that like you forgot about that's running the show, created this whole scenario that you're in. But on the deepest level, it's still you. And actually, the whole thing about waking up isn't beating Mr. Smith. Like, what if Mr. Smith is the doorway to your unconscious, what we call the placebo, the thing that's tricking you to tell you that it's something else outside trying to control you and manipulate you. And you're just a poor little helpless victim, and you can't wake up from it. It's bullshit. I think this is just my stuff, and I could be totally full of shit. This is only based on my experience. That's why it's my opinion before anybody's validated feelings gets hurt. But I don't believe for a second that we're in some type of prison the way other people are talking about it. Even the demigods, even the freaking, there's going to be some Golden Dawn magicians that are going to be upset when I say this. Even the freaking, the demiurge or whatever, all the stuff that imprisoned you is still a deeper part of your creation. Like, you created the game. And what I was saying about like fractals is we have noticed on a hermetic level that everything in nature is fractal. Everything, as above, so below. We've already noticed that. So if we're going around, we're creating this reality, in this physical reality, for sure. We created the internet, we created everything except the laws of nature. We created all this stuff. Wouldn't you think that that's happening on a bigger level? Like a bigger we created this thing? I don't know. I think the glitches are signs. My point isn't to like push my opinion, but my bigger question is things like deja vu, those intuitive hits, stuff like that, not only evidence of it, but is it evidence of a simulation or evidence of a really deep ass dream? Like a dream layered on top of a dream. So in Monroe's later journeys, he met other travelers, beings who built like entire environments with thought alone. Now that sounds like simulation, but it's also the architecture of dreaming. You build environments with your own head. If you've ever slowed down and paid attention to some of the greatest, most detailed and vivid dreams you've ever had, just your mind alone, maybe not, created that architecture of that dream. So it's not like, is it really machine or mind? It's who's coding whom, what is coding what is building what. So maybe like this quantum field that the simulation people are talking about is the dreamer, and it's like kind of like self-awareness. You have to tell me that what happened though, Bryce, a little bit more detailed about like that shadow figure. Did it just appear? Were you dreaming? Did you wake up when you saw it? Like, what happened?
Well, so I was taking a nap, and it was late afternoon, and I just went and I never go down. I don't usually take late afternoon naps, but
okay.
for some odd reason, I was just tired that day, and I just laid down and took a short nap, maybe 30 minutes. But I woke up, and there was this, looked like the outline of a man in my dark room, sitting down on the edge of my bed, and I could feel the bed move, and it scared the crap out of me, and I just stood up as fast as I can and tried to grab it, and it just vaporized in my hand. Or in my arms.
So it was after you woke up from the nap.
Yeah. But it was there all the way up. It was there all the way up until I grabbed it. It wasn't like, sleep paralysis where
did it wake you up? You said you felt it, so did that movement wake you up?
Well, the movement didn't wake me up. When I woke up, I saw it, and I walked over to the edge of my bed and sat down, and that's when I felt the bed move, like some weight was on it, that kind of deal.
I did,
because I've had that happen to me, but the movement would wake me up out of my sleep in the middle of the night.
But then you didn't see anything?
No, I would see shadow figures. I've had it happen multiple times. Not in this house. Well, that's a lie. I've had it twice in here, but at my parents' house, I had it happen quite often. It was fucking creepy.
So what were you waking up? So you said you were waking up? Sorry,
because of it. Yeah, like I would feel the movement on the bed, and then I would wake up and see it, and then it'll disappear.
Okay, so all right. So hear me out.
Yeah.
Monroe. I like bringing up Monroe. It's just a reference. It's the same way when like Christians bring up the Bible. Okay, same thing. All right, so Monroe talked about all that consciousness is frequency phase shifting. When he would get out of body, he would phase in, phase out, that kind of thing. When he would phase into the second body from the etheric, it was just another phase, right? That, based on what you guys are telling me and my experiences too, then the phase thing would hold water, right? Like, if you were totally awake all day, you probably wouldn't have saw the shadow figure, but like Bryce, but because you woke up, there was it's just like when a radio station's turning a knob and it kind of is trying to fine tune a dial. Sometimes you'll get both interference in that signal. And so you go to swipe the shadow figure or whatever, and it kind of phases out like it's not there, but then you know what I mean? Like now you're back to reality, so to speak. And just because you saw and you felt the bed compress doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that it's not real. It means that there was a moment where the signals started crossing. Does that make sense? Like if you're changing a radio dial, kind of the same thing. Because I had that happen to me the other night when I was trying to get out of body. I was practicing just some relaxation stuff, trying to get to the vibratory state, and I fell asleep like I always do. So I passed out, but then I caught myself and I woke back up. And when I woke back up, I could see my blanket or my quilt kind of warp, like it would warp to my focus, almost like I was tripping or on something, if that makes sense, So that's another thing. I was phasing in and out of different stuff, You guys do smell what I'm stepping in, right? It's not like just I'm not totally confusing you. You don't have to sit in silence. What's up, Dutchie? Dutchie's in here just chilling, not saying nothing.
I hear what you're saying. I remember Joe McMoneagle saying something about basically we're seeing ourselves in our beds, and that's like the shadow figure is us. We're just scared of what we're seeing because we're not we're at two places at once. I forgot the exact quote, but I know he mentioned it and saying basically it's just us we're seeing as a shadow person from the bed.
Yeah, I kind of remember that, and I remember McMoneagle saying that he was out of his body in his room, and he could sense this sort of evil in the room, and it was like debased evil, and then he kind of realized the evil thing he thought he saw was actually himself. But this kind of human was like as a human, you're a debased kind of creature. That's kind of, and it surprised me. That's what I remember.
What do you think about that, Bryce? Do you think that shadow figure was you, by any chance, you sitting on the edge of your bed?
I don't think it was. No.
You think it was
really
another separate being from you, maybe there to taunt you, possibly,
or even say hello? I don't know, but it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
How long ago was this?
It's been a few years. It's 2019, 2018.
Man,
there's lots of people that do have that experience with shadow figures in the bedroom. It's not uncommon, is it?
I mean, I know I've had them, and there were some that felt really sinister and dark, where I would like as a kid, throw the blanket over my head. Like, nope, go away. I'm not dealing with you tonight. Fuck all the way off, please, and thank you.
All the way off, huh?
All the way, yeah.
But what if this is what I'm saying? Like, what if all of our fear reactions are just, like, just because we don't really understand what's going on? Like, if we got out of body enough and we were really seeing all these entities and stuff that we talk about on the broadcast all the time, maybe they wouldn't freak us out so much. I mean, I'm just talking crap, dude. I've seen it. Like, I've had so many psychedelic experiences, out of body experiences, all these different experiences, and still, if my mind sees something that is not supposed to be real, like an apparition, or like that time I saw that ghost walking across the street in upstate New York, still to this day, my heart will just a natural reaction. My heart will speed up, like adrenaline will flow in my body, because something shifted my paradigm, and my mind can't, it's just a ghost. It's not going to hurt you. It can't do anything to you. So why does it still freak us out internally so much? You ever wonder that?
Hey, man, what was the ghost that you saw in New York? I don't think I remember that.
What was the ghost in upstate New York? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, tell us that.
Yeah, your voice sounds really muffled, but I understand. Yeah, so I was outside. It was like 3 a.m. But I had the radio station up. We lived on like a weird, so it was me and Ryan Gable and like this place called West Bloomfield, New York. You can look it up, and it looks like a farmland, but we lived out in this kind of like farmland area, and it was midwinter in upstate New York, right? It was freezing, packed snow, really eerily silent. And I would stay up messing around the radio station night after night up there. I lived on the top floor in my apartment. Ryan lived below me. And so I'd go outside to the front porch, and it was like one of these old country front porches, it looked like a plantation porch, but it was so freaking quiet outside. I wonder if that's what freaked me out too, because I'd never been in such a cold winter in my entire life, and the snow was so packed that there were no animals, no crickets, no birds, no sounds, no wind, nothing. Just, it was so quiet I could hear my heart beating in my ears almost. And this car starts coming down the road, and you could see the beam of the headlights cutting through the snow falling, and I'm just smoking a cigarette watching it. And then I see this person walking, I thought was just a person walking down the street, right? I didn't see the person, I saw the person before the lights got to him. So as the person's walking, I'm watching him. I'm like, I wonder who that is, because there's not that many people that live out here. We're in the country. And as soon as the car came around and the lights hit that person, it vanished. It was a walking person that vanished. And not only that, I was probably at least a football field away from this thing. I know I was a football field away from this thing. And see, it still freaked me out. Like, I was such a wuss. I tossed my cigarette and just slammed the door and ran upstairs. My heart got just full of adrenaline. And I realized, too, when I got into my apartment, I shut the door, I thought, why the hell am I afraid? Like, why did my body just react like that? A ghost can't do nothing to me. But it was one of the first times that I directly laid my eyes on a ghost. Not saw something moving out of the corner of my eye, even though that's happened quite a bit. Not, something I made up, or it might have been. It was a person walking that disappeared when the lights hit it. It wasn't an illusion. It wasn't a reflection. There was nothing for the light to reflect off of. It was a person, and now that I think about it, and I told the story before, it looked like a person walking in their pajamas, man. Listen, Ari, bro, Joe is going to talk as much Monroe as Joe wants to talk. As much as I want to. And I probably will for the rest of my life. Sorry. I'm not sorry, actually, but yeah, I love those books. So get over it, don't, whatever, but I ain't going to stop talking about it. But anyways, like my heart sped up. For what reason? So when you saw that shadow figure, was it really that you were afraid of something evil, or was it that like your paradigm just got so shook up, that it made your heart speed up and you got into that fight or flight? Dude, I got into fight or flight and I was 100 yards away from this thing. You see what I'm saying? That's how, what am I trying to say? That's how deep into this paradigm that we are. So we think that we know so much. We all talk about like how, we think we know so much about everything. This is right and that's wrong and this is real and that's bullshit. And yet, when most of us actually see something like that, or something that shakes up our paradigm that much without having to take drugs, we're totally conscious, and it takes it changes our paradigm, we can't handle it, which lets you know how deep we really are into this dream. Think about that. If anything comes into your reality that doesn't make sense, that you can see with your own eyes without being inebriated or acted upon by a drug or anything, like if something just phased into your reality right in front of you, you can almost not help but freak out. The body that you're in, the ego that you have, can almost not help but try to protect you and keep you from it. Doesn't that give you a little bit of a clue as to like how deep we are in this dream? Think about it. Try and wake up. Have you ever tried to do that? Like just try to wake up right now.
I've tried that before.
There's that. Have you? Because I felt like I'm the only person that's ever tried that.
I tried it.
It feels like there's no way, doesn't it? Like you're so deep in this thing, there's no way. Right? But there's a part of you that tells you you can wake up from it. You're just really, really, really deeply in this place,
Then you see beautiful sunsets or the stars and the moon gigantic in the sky. And I'm like, do you really want to wake up?
Yeah, exactly. You don't. You see, and that's my whole freaking point. Like, you hear this stuff, prison planet, everything's fake, all this stuff. We're in prison planet. We're all being manipulated. That's just your ego, man, trying to protect you. You really start waking up, like really, truly waking up, it is frightening. Nobody wants to do that. It's not as fun as taking shrooms. It's not as fun as tripping on acid. Try doing, and for those people that are really into psychedelics, try some ibogaine. Tell me how fun that is. Because then you really got to deal with yourself. It's not recreational.
Nobody wants to deal with themselves.
Like that's the part that's like, that's what I'm trying to say. Deja vu comes in, I think, not as something well, it kind of is natural, but I think it's this thing that comes in to remind you, like, hey, this isn't total reality. You've been here before. Now, don't go in that freaking house because something bad's gonna happen. I honestly do. I think like there was a time. I really do. I think there was a time that I went into that house with my buddies and we died.
Oof.
Ari says, one day soon, let's have a call off air. Why not off air? Why not on air?
Let the whole class hear.
Yeah, there's nothing to hide from, man. You're Ari, man. You're Ari the cat. Express yourself. Like, not that I don't, give a damn about any of that, but so I kind of am. I'll be honest with you. I am kind of pushing my point of view here by asking some questions, but they're rhetorical, right? So maybe they're rhetorical to me, but maybe the quantum field is the dreamer. Like God, consciousness, Or are we all nodes in one vast, like, neural web, a cosmic internet just made of thought, what Monroe calls M-band noise? Maybe every time two people share the same dream, the universe winks. I've had the same dream as some. Actually, I've had the same dream as another person, but different scenarios happened. But we were in the same place. You know, that's another weird thing that's happened too. Anybody else want to share anything before I got to do that? Because I'm already late for the top of the hour stuff. But I feel like I'm missing something. Dutchie, I feel like you got one hell of a story you're holding back, man.
No.
You don't?
I've had that though. Well, I've had that where I get something where I'm in a situation and I get a really weird feeling, like something's weird about it, and I get like a physical reaction to it, like, wait, something's not right here, but not like deja vu, but not like something really bad happened or something like that, but just a really weird feeling.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a good feeling too, though, isn't it? Like sometimes I'll get deja vu and it'll be like a nostalgic, good type feeling. You know, not just when a song, but just a weird scenario where like, oh man, I've been here before. And then I'll start thinking to myself, have I actually been here before in this life? And my brain's just freaking out because it's exactly the same. Or no, I'll make sure that's not the case. And then I'll be like, oh man, that's so cool. And I'll get a good feeling from it. You know, that happens too.
Yeah, it's hard. Right. It's hard because it's, our brains are wired to make associations and stuff. That's like looking up at the clouds and seeing a dog. We're just wired to do that. So it's hard to know the difference between, have you really been in this exact same situation, or is it a very similar situation? It's hard that way.
Right. Well, what do you think, Dutchie? Do you think that you could say, I don't know, but and I get it, none of us know, but if you had to guess, if you had to pick one, if someone put a gun to your head and was like, look, are we in a simulation or are we in a shared created reality that we all made? Right. Like
I'd go towards the second one.
I think
yeah, it's I like almost to say that like we were the programmers that forgot we're the programmers.
We're the programmers that forgot we programmed it.
Yeah, something like that.
That's
Isn't that what the 13th floor is about?
The movie 13th Floor? I still haven't seen that.
No, not exactly, but it's close.
No, okay. Yeah.
I still haven't seen it yet. Like, don't shoot the messenger.
It's like, well, isn't that like the end of Inception?
Yeah.
Isn't that? Yeah.
Yeah, when they finally wake up, they realize, yeah.
Or he could just stay in the dream and then, yeah. Because isn't that movie? Didn't DiCaprio like his wife and kid died or something?
Yeah,
so
that was such a trippy thing too, because in the whole point of that movie, and at the end when he went back to his kids or whatever, he spun that top on the table, right? And he said, I use this to see if I'm in a dream or not. Damn.
Right.
Sorry about the sirens. And then it looks like, before the credits start to roll, that it looks like it starts to wobble a little bit. Did you notice that? Like it starts to wobble just a little, but maybe it. So it's almost like you figure it out. I hate when movies do that. You figure it out. It's either a dream or it's not.
But outside of the wobble, it was that he chose to stay with in his dream because that's where his wife was, because she was dead, right?
Well, that's like in Donnie Darko too at the end of the movie, where he's cracking up. Like, did he actually go back in time, or was it all just in his mind?
And is there really a difference?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, did he just make it up because has a mental illness, or did he find the portal he needed to go through?
It's also like that book, Conversations with God, when Neil Donald Walsh was talking to the voice in his head that was God. And he said, how do I know that this is God? How do I know that I'm not making all this up? Right. And the voice said back to him, what's the difference? really think about that. What's the difference? If your consciousness, if you're I am that I am, and you're making it up as you go anyways. So when you're talking to yourself, you could say, like when he said, am I talking to myself or am I really talking to God? Well, if we are in this like collective conscious dream thing, then it's both. You know, it's not always or this or that. It's just easier for our brains to get formulas to make things simple for us because we like to feel. I noticed this about humanity more than anything, and I got plenty of time to sit around and think, like, and observe. We like to have formulas to make things simple and safe, and we like to be victims more than anything in the world because that's actually safer to us than being responsible, you know, for everything. It's such a bitch to be like, you can't say that I'm responsible for what happens on the earth. Yeah, and on some level you are. I'm responsible for all this bad stuff that happens in my life and in other people's lives. In some sense of the word, yeah, you are. Well, I'm not responsible for Hitler. You know, when Hitler, I've heard people say that when Hitler came about, like I'm a bad man. I didn't have anything to do with Hitler. It's like, well, the real question is, would Hitler have even had to even come into being if people weren't a certain way to begin with? And he just started placating towards what they believed already. And then he came in like some crazy evil manifestation or antichrist, you know. I feel like that's what's going to happen one day. We're all going to wake up and go, oh shit, I was doing that. We were doing that. We made this. Say it ain't so, please, Mom. All right. Anyways, we gotta pay the licensing bills for the Fringe FM. Be right back.
Yo. Anybody hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Say you can't, darling. Gotta keep it here. Don't let your man down. You're hopping. Catch me, yeah. Don't let your man down. Hopping. Catch me, yeah.
At Lunamart, we've got everything you need for your next reality jump. Rations, radios, and replacement souls. Open 24 hours a day on most timelines. Lunamart, now serving realities 4 through 6.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by Mutex, the all-new 5-cup cross your udder bra for full-figured cows.
What is dedication?
I am the father of a 9-year-old little girl and a 6-year-old little boy, and I find fatherhood both relentlessly challenging and relentlessly rewarding. My daughter is biological and my son is adopted. I love them both so much. From the morning when you wake up to putting them to bed at night, and every moment in between. It really is so special, and boy, is it exhausting. One thing that I fear about being a parent is the future for my children. I think a parent's job is to protect our children, but also prepare them for the world so they become good, kind human beings. But I'm also hopeful that the future holds a more inclusive and compassionate world for them.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
If you're worried your friend may be struggling, remember, you don't have to be there to be there.
You can say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You can ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You can ask on your couch while you binge watch. Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and the JED Foundation.
This Halloween night, Fringe FM becomes haunted radio. Then, at 7 p.m., the curtain rises for The Sinister Symphony, a brand new horror radio drama. It's one night only, and tickets are disappearing fast. Get yours now at Eventbrite. Haunted Radio, here on Fringe FM.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Are we live? Affirmative. Broadcast channel reconnected. Oh, good. I thought we lost it again. Feels different tonight. Like it's listening back. Signal anomaly detected. Unknown feedback source. Origin, listener side. Yeah, I know. Transmission authenticated. This is Fringe FM.
Introducing Monarch Mindwear, the neural headband that filters out doubt, fear, and original thought.
What is this?
Think faster, feel less, belong completely.
Who is
Monarch
this bitch?
Mindwear trademark, a product of Solaris Group.
Now, broadcasting from Forest Tower Studios, all the way from the Deep South. Now, here's your host, Joe Roop.
There's that. Hey, guess what? Jenny's got a cool story she's going to tell us. I'm just messing. No, but I do want to hear your story, though. All right, welcome back to Lighting the Void. Thank God. And don't forget, we got the Halloween special coming up quick, too, man. So Halloween is, okay, 1 week, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and just a couple of days. We'll be broadcasting on Hallows Eve, Halloween, and then we're doing a sponsored event that you guys can attend at Eventbrite. Alex Exum is going to do a new Halloween drama. They're really fun. And we'll be listening to all of the older Halloween dramas, as well as making our own drama during Halloween. So whether you're trick-or-treating or you're chomping down candy corns, skipping your carnivore diet so you can add on a little fat Halloween night, make sure you tune into the Fringe FM. I don't know if we'll be going live on YouTube or whatever, but we'll definitely be live on the station. So that's the plan, man. So maybe the simulation theory and the dream theory are the same story. That's what we're talking about tonight. Told in different languages. Both say this world is temporary. Both whisper, well, you're more than you seem. But tonight we asked, are we really code or consciousness? Is it both? Maybe we're both. Maybe we're a dream learning to read itself. And that's kind of where we left off. Now, we also talked about deja vu and these intuitive moments being kind of like glitches in the matrix things that kind of remind us that this reality isn't everything. And Bryce told us his story about a shadow guy. I told my story about a ghost. Wolf talked some pretty cool stuff about Philip K. Dick during the break that none of you heard. So we might talk about that again. And then Jenny said she's got some pretty cool stuff to share with us. So what's on your mind, Jenny?
My car accident that I had.
Your accident you had a couple months ago?
Yeah, it was back in April. But that whole morning, so it was on a Wednesday, and I didn't have to go in. It was more of a prep day. But I was just going in just to bang a couple things out and come back home. But I just felt anxious all morning. Like there was just, I didn't want to go to work. I was like, you know what? I don't even have to go in today, but let me just go and get this shit done so that I don't have to worry about it tomorrow. One less thing to do. But all morning, I was just unsettled.
Yeah.
And I spoke to my sister about it. I think I even told Jess about it too. And I was like, I'm not in the mood. I don't want to go out there. So I'm going to make it a short day, in and out. I'm on the highway and it was stop and go traffic. And everybody hit the brakes real quick. And then I look up behind me and the car came and smashed right into me. So I was like, that's what it was. All that anxiety and all that feeling of not wanting to go in and just to keep my ass home was because it was trying. That's what I think now it was trying to have me avoid that car accident.
Do you ever wonder if you not only knew that was going to happen, but on some deeper level, you kind of manifested it too? Not saying it's your fault. Don't take it like that.
No. No. I understand what you're saying. And I felt that too. So I'm like, damn, if I wasn't feeling this way, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Or if I took a different route, or if I left a little bit earlier or a little bit later, or just not have gone at all. So those were all the things that were going through my mind at the time. And I was like, I should have just stayed my ass home like I wanted to in the beginning. So any other time where I get that feeling, that gut feeling or the anxiousness where I can't really place where it's coming from, because usually I can tell like, okay, why am I feeling like this? And that day it didn't belong to me. Like it was just, I couldn't tell where it was coming from. And I was like, son of a bitch.
I think you probably did that same exact thing, like in multiple different lifetimes. And maybe your higher self was like, you probably need to stay home today. You know, trying to protect you a little bit. Could be. I mean, accidents happen. Sometimes it could just be random, but I highly doubt it. You know.
No, that day I was getting warned multiple times to stay home, and I chose not to listen to that.
Right. So Wolf, next time you have that voice, you'll listen to it, I think, right? Or have you been listening to it since then?
I've been listening, yeah. At least trying to.
What were you saying earlier, Wolf, about Philip K. Dick? You're saying that it wasn't that Tom guy that started the reason why he started it was because he was more of an academic. That's why he gets more notoriety about it, about the simulation theory.
Yeah. Well, Philip K. Dick, who wrote all those books, in the 70s, he did. He was in this big room of people, and there was like a sort of panel and everything, and I don't know what the situation was. There was a TV camera on him and it's filmed. It's on YouTube. And he kind of declared to everyone that deja vu is a glitch in the matrix. And these are the words that he used. And he said that he believes that he's living in a simulated computer kind of reality. And that the glitch is a sign of that. And like I said, obviously that it can go back to Plato's cave. All these kind of ideas of a simulation. Even there's a French guy, Jean Bouliard, who talked about the simulacra and the simulacrum, which is about how society replicates itself. That's another sort of philosophy, but it's kind of similar. Actually, in the Matrix, that's the book that Neo hides some of his discs in. I don't know if you notice, he opens his book and it's that book, Simulacra and Simulacrum. But
and the one he opened in the Matrix.
Yeah. But my point was that Nick Bostrom, who was his PhD, he was doing his PhD, and he came up with this idea of the simulation theory because he was an academic. The likes of Neil deGrasse Tyson and that lot all jumped on it and lauded it as, wow, what an incredible idea. And And I think, although he did have other ideas, offshoots of that, like about sort of nested realities, I think the kernel of the idea comes from like Philip K. Dick. So that's all I'm saying. Philip K. Dick doesn't get this sort of...
he doesn't get the academic credit for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, a science fiction writer just kind of gets forgotten about at times, doesn't he? You know what I mean? But an academic makes any kind of suggestion, especially when you've got the double split experiment and everything, then they're all on it. But either way, there's some kind of crazy shit going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm all for it, man. Like I'm trying to, we've got people like who showed up in chat for sure. I know people are experimenting with this stuff hard on their own. Like Grant gets out for sure. He's trying to, Sudi's always in the background trying to get out of body too. I think it's cool. I know April is. I got people wondering, hey man, like if we start getting out of body, do we need to start meeting up in a place? Here's the thing I want to tell people though. It's not like it may be that easy for you, but it is damn hard to get into the etheric for the first time. It's like to get in, most of the time when people say, yo man, I have out of body projections, I have them all the time. It's not a big thing, It's like my bullshit meter goes up almost 90% of the time when people say that, unless they tell me a story about the first time they got out of body and how hard it was or how trippy it was. Then I start thinking, okay, well, maybe they developed, some kind of way to do it. But most of the time, like, it's hard. So I think one of the biggest reasons why I'm talking about this is if anything showed me that how deep this reality was, it was like the out of body experience. Because as soon as I phased out and got out of my bed and was looking at myself sleep, it was just like this massive pull back towards my body. Almost like your body's like, whoa, you're phasing into the wrong thing. You got to get back into stasis, man. This isn't good, So that to me was like kind of proof that, all right, it's either some kind of weird simulation, but especially a freaking deep-seated dream, So Monroe's gateway process was designed as a hack, That's what he was trying to do is like, look, I'm just going to call this stuff different focus levels, and we're going to practice just turning our frequency, like trying to phase in and out of these areas. So one day I'm hoping like that we can hack this thing on a higher level than just using sound frequencies. Like, do you think that humans can scientifically engineer, and when I say scientifically, I mean scientifically, engineer altered states to reach higher realities? And no, I don't mean dropping acid or DMT. What I mean is find a way where you can hold your consciousness in its most natural state and just shift that phase without having to ingest anything to do it. Because I did it, and I'm just some regular Joe Schmo. So there's got to be a scientific way to do it. The whole CIA documents that they have about the Monroe Institute and the binaural beat tech, and the guy that reported back to the military in the documents was talking about the hologram, the same freaking thing that Monroe was talking about in the third book, and also talking about frequency shifts. And anybody, whether it's like Eastern mystics or anybody that I've ever talked to about this, when I bring up phase shifting or frequency, they just stop and they go, that's it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Even that Darius Wright guy talks about it like it's magnetism or something, But I do wonder to this day, Wolf, like that thing that I saw walking, was that a freaking dead person, or was that just a person like that was asleep down the road that happened to get out of body and I could see it for one moment? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man. I mean, it could be either, couldn't it? It could really be.
Yeah. And what state was I in that I was able to see it? Because I remember how freaking just dead silent it was out there. And it was almost so calming, and so I was in like an altered state of consciousness to some extent because I'd never been in an environment like that. If I go outside in Arkansas at any point in time, Florida, Arizona at night, I hear stuff. But in upstate New York, when the snow's packed in, you can't hear you could hear a pin drop. That's how quiet it is. It was really eerie, man.
In the first book, did Monroe say he encountered people that were dead in the astral?
I don't know if he did in the first book. I don't think so. I think he started to in the second book.
Oh, okay.
See, we just got through reading them, and I can't remember everything, you know. But I'm pretty sure he did in like the second book. And
I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah, and then like he also talked about this phasing state between life after death. That park, or that quote park place, that we created that. It wasn't made by but like an angel or a god or Mr. Smith or somebody that's trying to trick us. And, you know, it was made by us so that we could chill the fuck out after we die.
I have a question.
What?
Is remote viewing the same as astral projection?
No.
Or OBEs?
Okay, well, the remote viewing is not the same as the out of body experience.
Right? You can do that while you're awake. It's just focusing on a point, right?
Yeah, I mean, remote viewing is just imaging. It's like, I see this image somewhere. You could just shut your eyes and focus and, okay, I see this image. Here's what it is. Like, the out of body state is you, as you are right now, the way you are right now, moving out of body.
Gotcha.
Just moving out of your body. No imaging, no thoughts, nothing like that, you know.
You know, with remote viewing, though, you can sense temperature and texture, and you are awake, but at the same time, you kind of can slightly bilocate.
Yeah.
The remote viewing sort of umbrella gets kind of confused, but it's not like astral projection, obviously.
I don't even like the term astral projection because I think that's just lucid dreaming, man, when people say that. The way I hear people talk about astral projection, I think you're just lucid dreaming, you know, or you're remote viewing.
Yeah. I think as lucid dreaming is quite interesting because I've had the experience you've had of leaving your body, and it's a full on 100% experience, but I've had lots of lucid dreams. But I think if you leave your body, you are basically transforming consciousness from your conscious self to your unconscious self to this form, this astral form. When you have a lucid dream, you are in essence conscious in the dream state, which is a similar thing. So you've shifted your realities to some extent. So I think if you can control a lucid dream, and I've controlled them to a point, but if you can control them fully, it's kind of like locale 2. You should maybe be able to roll out and experience something or go back to your body and see it for real. Like you're sort of halfway there with a lucid dream, I think. I think it could be a jumping off point, but
you might be there on a halfway level on like a conscious level, like, or like an awareness level, like, okay, I'm aware.
Yeah.
But as far as like your surroundings and like, yeah, no, it's not the same. Like being out of body in locale 1 and the etheric or the phantom, what Muldoon calls it, they all call it different things.
Mm-hmm.
Like what you see now, at least in my experience, what you see right now as I'm talking is what it's what you feel, see, everything. The only difference is you'll feel a little bit lighter. That's it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you saying. I know what you're saying. But what I mean is that locale 2 in his books is almost like a lucid dream. Bizarre environments, you know? So if you're halfway conscious, but you're not in locale 1, you're not in that reality, but you're pseudo-conscious in another reality, maybe you could boost that pseudo half consciousness to go into the locale 1, to go into your room, to see yourself. Do you know what I mean? It's like a sort of halfway house. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, you're making sense. Sudi was talking about that, and I've heard other people talk about that too. So keep in mind that if we relate all these different places to, let's say, dials on the radio, right? So locale 1 is, 92 point whatever, and then you turn the radio, and then lucid dreaming is 100.3 whatever. And the closer you get back to the dial, the closer you get back to actually being awake in your body, kind of thing, right? So what Sudi was talking about was that some people are making like portals or creating things in their lucid dreams to get them from lucid to the locale 1 or lucid to, I'd have to put images up to explain this, but the lucid state to the phantom state. Right. So
right. Yeah.
Think about the Phantom like this. You remember that eerie thing that Monroe was talking about, and other OB travelers, Muldoon, Buellman, like Robert Bruce, all of them have talked about this. Eventually, you start seeing people. You can go into other people's bedrooms even, and you can see their separated phantom self floating above their body. Sometimes it's stuck to the ceiling. Sometimes it's just barely phased out of their body. Sometimes their bodies will fall to the floor, but you could see it. That body is locale 1. You can move around and be aware in that body, but you can also leave it and go into what Robert Monroe calls locale 2. And what I think you're right. I think maybe it's just a super aware, lucid dream state, kind of, you know?
Yeah, because in that state, if you've ever experienced those sort of dreams, the people around you they're almost zombified. They're barely there. And it's just like Monroe would talk about people that are kind of half there, half in, half out, or they're in that kind of lust mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That still freaks me out though. Like that makes me think about, is it what is that movie, Bryce? Is it The Conjuring or Insidious, when they go into the further and all those people are just like, I'm stuck here, you know? That's what it makes me think of. A lot of that stuff he was talking about in that book made me think about that. Like going into the further. Look, like when he was saying, look at all these gray beings. They're just lost. They don't really know what they're doing. They're in this class, this dream class, trying to figure out how to wake up. Fuck. That sounds scary, man.
It just sounds like most of us drift to that place, but if you can become aware in that place, then you're lucid dreaming. And if you're lucid dreaming, you're halfway there. So maybe you can get back to locale 1 as a fully 100% operating being. You know what I mean? I didn't hear Sooty say that, but I know she was talking about lucid dreaming. But yeah, I think you probably could I don't know about make a portal, but roll out your body the second time or whatever. But I think you're halfway there. So I don't think it's a bad idea.
Right. Robo 1776 says lust mode. Did one of us say lust mode? Did you say that? Lust
I said that. Yeah, I said yeah. It's like when all these people are dreaming and they're having these sex dreams. They're all just wandering around on this plane getting naughty.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, I haven't had any of the. I've had no. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been out of body quite a few times. I've had no sexual encounters. The only time I've ever had sexual encounters out of body, I've had other people say they've had sexual encounters with me in their dreams or out of body. And then when I tell them, no, you didn't, kind of like Adam Sandler on Billy Madison. No, you didn't, you know, like, like when I tell them like, no, you didn't. They're like, no, you had to be there. You don't remember anything? I'm like, no, I don't. That was a dream, right? And I wasn't a part of it. And then like, the only other real time that's happened is when I was a kid. I got molested by this Elvira looking chick when I was a kid in an OBE state. So I don't know what the deal is, but if you talk to children, most children got it the worst. This is what freaks me out about this whole freaking thing that makes me think about like these non-human intelligences. Like children get mobbed on by astral beings, man. They just do.
Yeah, my niece lucid dreams quite often. I showed like it's easy for her to do. I'm like, fucking teach me how to do that.
It's like they're closer to the other side, isn't it? You know?
Yeah. Until we turn that off in them, it's like we keep pounding it into their head. Oh, it's all in your mind. It's just in your mind. It's bullshit, man. It's not real. It's all in your mind. You're making it. And eventually the kid, they look up to the parents and pretty much all their elders, like you rope the moon because they're vulnerable. So they look up to all them and they're like, all right, okay, you're right. Maybe I am just making it up. And then I think they eventually shut that frequency off themselves, you know? I think that's what I did. Listen, my father used to come into the room, right? My father used to come into the room and flip the light on and off because I used to I would see stuff with my eyes open, man. Kind of like the Sixth Sense. I would lay in the bed and I remember looking at this like little fat dwarf thing that was standing in the hallway. just looking at me. And my dad's room was across the hallway from my room. Both doors open. But I also remember freaking myself out before I saw it. So this is why I'm saying I think we create this shit, because I would lay on my pillow and I would look and I'd face towards the wall and I could hear my heartbeat in my ear in the pillow. But there'd be this little voice in my head going, there's somebody, that's footsteps, man. Something's coming to get you. Something's coming to get you. Now, I don't know why I was thinking about this stuff. Maybe I'm psychotic, but eventually I would talk myself into turning around. So turn around and look in the hallway. Something was just turn around and look. So I turn around and look, and there's this fat thing just standing there, short, fat, just looking at me. And it freaked me out so bad that I jumped over its head, ran through it, ran into my dad's room, jumped into the bed, freaked out. I did this so many nights when I was a kid. And one day my dad came in there and he's like, look, let me show you something, son. And he dragged me in there by my arm and he's flipping the light on and off. He goes, you see that right there? You see that over there? He's like, look at that thing on the wall. And he'd flip the light on. He goes, see? And he'd flip it off. No difference. There's no difference. Nothing there. The only difference is it's light, it's dark. That's it. Light and dark. He was talking to me like I was an idiot, basically. So eventually, my mind shut it off, man, because being told that I wasn't seeing these things or that I was making them up, which in a sense I was, wasn't as bad as like the emotional shit that I was getting from being the crazy kid that, was seeing stuff. And I think a lot of kids get that because their parents just go, oh my God, it's just a dream, or there's nothing in there, you're not really seeing shit. And, at least my generation of parents were that way. I don't know about yours, but mine were. But I mean, is there really a difference? Like, is there really a difference? We make stuff up in our head all the time. We just don't see it astrally. But I do think that thing that I saw on the road that night was 100% not made up by me. But I think that's why it freaked me out so much. Do any of you guys ever see that kind of shit when you were a kid, or is it just me that saw stuff?
Ones like that had other weird shit happening.
No,
I was scared. Oh, yeah. I was scared shitless as a little kid. I used to see shit all the time.
With your eyes,
I never really.
With your eyes open though, like not asleep or anything. Like, yeah, dude, yeah.
Yeah, I never really saw anything like that. I mean, one time I do remember we were walking into the house. Me and my mom and my brother, we were walking into the house, and there was a chandelier in the kitchen, and it just moved. It just like shook. No earthquake, nothing like that. The chandelier just moved, started swinging back and forth. I do remember that, but I've never, as far as any apparitions when I was a kid, I never saw anything like that.
That's strange that you only saw them as an adult.
Yeah.
Were you on any medications at the time, Bryce?
When I saw the chandelier move, or when I was a kid?
No, I don't want to dig too personal, but when you saw the shadow thing, yeah, were you on any medications at the time?
No, I wasn't on any medications at the time.
What if I asked you to manifest that thing again? Would you do it?
Hell no.
Come on, man. You're in your 40s now. You got this, dude.
What about you and your dwarf?
I will try to manifest it again. But I'm just not as scared as I was. That's what I was telling you guys earlier, man. Like, the emotional field is the thing that we're all connected. It's that frequency band, right? And when you're a kid, you can slip in between those states like nothing. And if you're just laying in your bed freaking out as a kid, full of fear, with your eyes wide open, afraid of nothing until it shows up, and then it's really there, people are going to say, your parents are telling you it's all in your mind. You made it up. And they're right. In a way, they're right. And you're telling yourself, no, man, I was awake. I saw it. It's totally there. And in a way, you're both right. if you can kind of smell what I'm stepping in, you're both right. So what if that be the case? If that be the case, then what is out there in the spirit world that's really manipulating us on such a deep level that we're so stupid and getting manipulated from that we're really not doing to ourselves? Remember, Eva Monroe came up to this figure that's like, I'm God, worship me, Where the hell did that come from? Had a deep voice. I had a moment one time where I had a voice that was coming through me that was like, I demand you to release me by light and life, and it just resonated all through me. Most of the New Age people would say that was your higher angelic self coming through your body. Maybe, or maybe I'm such a powerful conscious being that I'm not aware of that I created that voice on a deeper level and didn't even know I did it, I don't think a lot of people want to hear that. Because it's not as fantastical, but it really is if you think about it. Because now, when you explore consciousness, you can create worlds like that dude did. You can go create freaking cabins with streams and go experience them, maybe even on a deeper level than any lucid dream. If you just learn to use your consciousness. And sure, when you're in your waking life, like do practical stuff. It's all consciousness anyways. Just one's in the body, one's not. I don't want to hear this shit about, oh yeah, Joe, you're just obsessed with out-of-body experience because you can't handle life. I've had people tell me that shit. It's like, no, dude, I'm bored. I've handled life. I've done it. I'm not saying I've done it all, but I've done a lot by myself. I've traveled. I've ate things. I've talked to people. I've had parties and sunsets and sunrises, orgasms, mouthasms from great food, whatever you like. I've done all kinds of shit in life. I still want to do more. So don't give me that crap. Like, I love life, but we just shut off. Like, I don't think we should just shut off when we shut off, so to speak. When our body shuts off, we have to figure out how not to shut off and explore our consciousness so we can make this better for all of us, our kids and their kids and their kids' kids. And one day we'll come back and it'll actually be, a real fantasy place. I have a utopian mindset about what we could create if we were actually all conscious enough. It's way far more woo than any new ager out there, the concepts I have in my mind. But I thank God I got Wolf to keep me in check. And Bryce. I appreciate you guys. I actually do. Thanks for coming into the even though I give you a hard time sometimes. Dutchie, you should come in more often into the production room. I know you're like the Phantom in the Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good talk, Dutch. All right. So, anybody else want to comment on anything before we get up on out of here? Nothing? Why do I feel like I'm the teacher at the head of the class going, anybody got any questions? No? We're all adults here. You can step on me and say whatever you want. It's the free country.
I had something and I lost it.
Yeah, I probably threw it off by that little rant I did. My bad. Okay. Well, we'll be back tomorrow night. I doubt we'll broadcast Friday because we don't have any books to finish. I got a couple of guests that are going to be coming on soon. It won't be the out-of-body topic. It'll be around the UFO topic. We got to get...
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean...
That sounds fun. I love UFO stuff.
Yeah, so there's some weird stuff going on in Florida. Joe Hunter, there's some stuff going on in China that's not getting talked about that we should be paying attention to, apparently. Anyways, I don't want to give anything away, but we will be talking about those things soon. So thank you all for coming out and hanging out with us, kicking it. Roop going toe-to-toe with the dwarf thing. I will try to manifest that dwarf, and if I do, I'll let you know. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Night-night, y'all. Sweet dreams. Maybe I get to...
Tombstones climbing up the sky to claim the boredom and the whine of the radiator, to freeze the fates that intertwine.
You ever seen the
Unresolved and undefined in this echo chamber. Just like Lazarus, you'll know there's an operator, some strange passenger inside. To that strange power I'm resigned like an iron anchor. I'm just a ghost in your stereo, the fading memory of a shipwreck in the undertow. You're just a lost song I wrote, and I'm just a ghost in your stereo.